Hello.
Bop bloop, the flippity flop bloop. Book challenge.
All right. Sister Chung and I are putting each other through a very difficult challenge. And we basically have the entirety of 2024 to read 12 books that the other person has assigned us to read. So some of them probably won't be very difficult, and some of them may be a little difficult, but are kind of probably in our range of type of books we'd like, or at least, are open to exploring. And some of the books are going to be a nightmare for us. And I think that's kind of the thing. Like, I tried not to give him things like just to make him suffer, but I wanted to have him explore books that maybe I really like. And no, he's not going to like them, but that at least we could talk about. I'm not expecting him to love them, but it's kind of nice when you're having a conversation with someone and you're like, oh yeah, I like this book, and they have no idea what you're talking about because they've never read it. They know nothing about that author. So I feel like, we're going to try to test each other out a bit, push each other outside
Part of the pain will be this extensive intro.
Yeah. So we'll check in monthly, let you know how we're doing on these. So as you can see, Sir Chunk is an orange cat.
So yeah, we're basically giving each other 12 books to read.
Yeah, and so we'll see how we do. The idea is ideally one a month so that we're not waiting until December to try to squeeze them all in, which isn't even going to be possible with some of the stuff he's given me. But at the same time, it's always, especially with him, sometimes it's harder for him to read certain times of the year. So, we'll see how we do. I'm going to try to really attack at least one of the big ones from him early on in the year. So I feel like I've made some progress, because I think if I start with the easy ones, it's just going to be a lot. So these are in no particular order. This is just kind of the order we had put them on the list. So the first one he's giving me is
The Stand. A nice breezy read. It's a light beach read of just apocalyptic disease that destroys most of humanity. I think it clocks in at just a smidge over 1,000 pages. And this is the uncut version, so it has the super annoying characters added. But there are some great characters in this. It's a really good story. The ending is crap, but I do really, really like this book. I like all the books on this list, and I thought, she hasn't read this, and it's sort of one of the Stephen King staples. So here you go.
Well, to be fair, this is one I actually do want to read. And I've been saying, I do want to read this. So this is kind of a good chance for him to kind of be like, well, then do it.
Yeah, Johnny Walker Red.
So I am giving him, as a nice big chunky book, a book that he will probably like. He maybe do what I did and start it about 5 times before he can feel like dealing with it. But this is House of Leaves. And any of you who've read it, this is an experience. It's not a book, it's an experience. But it's, when you get through it, you just are so happy to have gotten through it. Not because you're oh, thank God that thing's over. It's so unique, so interesting, and it sticks with you. The some of the creepy stuff just it gets into you. Gets into your bones. You can't really escape it. So I love this book. I think what he should do is probably save this for the summer when he's got a lot of time, and he should vlog this of himself reading it so he can give regular updates about the journey, because I feel a lot of this book is the journey of reading this book.
I mean, I don't know. We'll see how journey I feel like it when I'm reading through it.
Right.
It'd be infuriating.
It is infuriating, but also amazing.
Mm.
All right, so the next one he's giving me is...
Oh, yeah, Aliens. So this is an adaptation of a movie. So you'd probably think most book adaptations of movies are generally, kind of on the crap side. But this one's amazing. First of all, I love this movie. It's great. What I love about this book is it adds so many cool details and sequences and even some characters that are not in the book. not in the movie. And it expands some characters that are in the movie. And it does a great job with this. So many cool scenes that are added that are awesome. I freaking love this book. And I love the movie.
I love this movie too, so I'm definitely interested in this.
You should rewatch the movie.
I talk about this with my upcoming my film kind of summaries, as I actually like Alien a little better because it's just more my thing. I like that slow burn, like tension. But it's not like it's not a dramatic difference. Like they're both just they're dramatic difference in type of movie and tone.
There is
But
more
I like
Jonesy
both of them.
in Alien, and Jonesy is the best character.
Right, but I like both of these a lot. So I'm excited to kind of read this.
Actually, Alien Cube, the third one, also excellent. Not as
Yeah.
good as the first two, but underrated.
Was
considering
Alien
how
4
good-
wasn't even that bad.
Yeah, it was mediocre.
That was the one with Winona Ryder?
Yeah, certainly significantly worse than the first three, but still good.
Yeah, I didn't really like those
Alien
Prometheus
3's
things.
got one of the best ending sequences of any action movie. It's incredible.
Yeah, I really enjoy these. I mean, Ripley's a badass.
Yeah,
I love
Ripley's
her.
great.
It's a-
Jonesy's great. Hicks is awesome.
Yeah, these are
Vasquez,
great stories.
Hudson,
All of them
Drake,
are good. Yeah.
Uzbowski, Crow, Dietrich. Should I keep going?
No, but
Okay.
I'm kind of excited. I think we own this. I may have to try to get it from the library just because.
I think it's in the great pile of books that have evaporated. into
Yeah,
space.
we don't know where some of our books are. So, the next one I'm giving him is a horror. It was like during that phase where like Stephen King was like, I'm going to write a monthly series, and he did Green Mile, and apparently John Saul was like, me too. And I got to be honest, John Saul's was better. I like Green Mile a lot. Don't get me wrong, but like Blackstone Chronicles is terrifying. Blackstone Chronicles also, to be fair, is pretty much like some of my favorite things. It's a old asylum / like building that's basically has like a history of just evil and corruption, and then these like each book is about an item that's cursed because it has a story behind it. So I mean, I love Needful Things. I love this whole cursed item thing. So we have this, and I think we might have the individual books, right?
We do. I bought them.
Yeah, you bought
for
them for me, the
Christmas
individual
a
ones.
while ago. But yeah, I've never read any John Saul.
I love John Saul.
And I'm down. So this is like, I think, the one I'm most looking forward to of her whole list.
The next one is actually he's giving me is a graphic novel.
All right, so here's an easy one for her to read. So I love comic books. I'm a bit of a comic book nerd, as you may have deduced. And there's several mini and maxi series. And one of the first maxi series ever for Marvel Comics is Secret Wars. Came out, I want to say, in like 85.
I think it was like 89.
12 issues. No, 89 is too late. 12 issues, and it's awesome. They basically just pull a bunch of villains, a bunch of heroes, they trap them on this separate alien battle world, and they just beat hell out of each other. The plot's a little on the thin side, but I love it.
Well, I think they're making a movie of it too, right?
I don't know what they're going to
Eventually.
do, maybe.
Yeah, Sir Chong over the years has given me multiple like graphic novels, trade paperbacks, and series to read. You gave me the Dark Phoenix saga, which was okay. Not my thing, but I didn't mind it. I do like the Batman ones you've given me. You gave me Arkham Asylum, which I really liked.
Gotham by Gaslight, right?
Yeah, I read Gotham by Gaslight. I didn't love Long Halloween, mostly just because I was disappointed. I thought it could have been so much cooler.
Yeah, I liked it, but I also was a little disappointed.
It had too much like mob element, and that's not my thing. I'm not. I like I just feel like Batman has so many cool villains. I could have.
I just wanted more Halloween. It was
Yeah.
like two of the weeks, 2 of the months for Halloween. I was like, I get that. It's the calendar, but like more Halloween.
I wanted also more like with the murder mystery part, and there was just a little too much of like the mob.
They were too busy also trying to fit their kind of like cool setup.
Yeah.
Then they worried about the story. The story was almost secondary to like the setup. You know what I mean?
Right. But you've definitely given me some over the years, and I've enjoyed them. So I mean, I'm fine.
I don't know how much you're gonna like this, but I love it.
Like, I'm not a big superhero person, but I'm not like anti-superhero stuff. It's not like I dislike it, and I love Doctor Doom.
I'm gonna reread this now, just looking at the cover.
I love Doctor Doom. Yeah, I got this for you like last year or the year before, right? In the graphic novel form, so I don't have to mess up your books. Yeah. So the next one I'm giving Sir Chonk is the Thursday Murder Club, because he read like 2 pages and was like, this is stupid, and then like gave up on it. So I don't know what happened, but like he'll like it. It's a fun, silly, cutesy mystery, but also a good mystery, and it's just hilarious and snarky and British, and just there's nothing to not like about these. And I'm sure once he gets into it, he'll actually really enjoy it.
Maybe I will. I didn't like it at first, but who knows?
It's a fun mystery. You'll like it. The next one he's giving me.
Ooh, The Amazing Adventures of Cavalier and Clay. This is really cool. This one, I think, did it win the Pulitzer? I think it did.
Yeah,
so,
it's winner of the
really
Pulitzer.
cool. Basically, 2 characters in New York just doing life stuff. One's like a publisher dude. One's like an escape artist. It's just they make like comics and stuff. It's great. Anyway, really fun. If you're into like the whole old New Yorkie vibe, which Coleridge Girl is into, I think she will go for this. It gets a little off the rails at times, but still very good.
I'm actually really excited to read this because I was supposed to read this. A friend of mine recommended it to me. I then brought it home. I borrowed it from her, brought it home. He was like, oh, that sounds cool. He read it. And then I ended up giving it back to her because, like, it had been, it's a long book, so it took a while. And then I was like, oh, I'll borrow it again later. I'm just not going to have time right now. And then never got back to it. So it wasn't like something that it's always been kind of on my radar to like, I got to read that at some point. It just felt more like a him thing because like he's more into comics than I am. And I just felt like it was really like right up his alley.
I think you'll like it.
Yeah, I think this is really just a book that I like. So I'm giving him a historical fiction book, and it is No Greater Love by Danielle Steele. And the thing is, I really struggled to pick which Danielle Steele to give him because,
they're all
like,
basically the same, so it doesn't really matter which one you give me.
I mean, her really early stuff is like super cheesy. Then she has a period that was like pretty good, and then it got kind of cheesy and formulaic again. So I tried to I obviously want to pick something from the good period. But the thing with Danielle Steele is I read all of her books through like the early 2000s. And so I feel like I've read so many, like 80 of her books out of like 160 something. And I was like, he's never read anything. So like I talk about her and he like mocks her and ridicules her, which, rightfully so. It is cheesy romance and whatever. But it's also kind of like one of the most famous authors of all time. And like, I'm not claiming she's like amazing or anything, but it's like, you might as well just suck it up and read one. So I tried to pick one that I thought it would be interesting. So No Greater Love is set on the Titanic. So, I mean, who doesn't care about the Titanic? He'll probably enjoy it to some degree. At least he might like this Titanic stuff.
I mean, I guess we'll see. I'm not very excited to read this.
I don't think you'll hate it. I don't think you'll love it.
Now, remember how many things I hate. Keep that in mind.
Yeah, I know. I just think you'll just go, it was fine. I still think it might be better than you think it'll be.
That's probably likely, considering I have a very low expectation.
Right,
so
and
it's going to be hard to go beneath those
right,
expectations.
I think like you'll just go, this is not as bad as I expected. So the next one he has for me.
Is it Lord of the Rings?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, everybody knows this book. She hasn't read it, so it's like I don't feel like it's not acceptable. I've not done my job.
A third of it.
She read 1/3. That doesn't mean anything. You know what I mean? So I feel like, I've not done my job as a book human to have her not read this book yet. So obviously it has to go on the list. I mean, like, I don't know how you're a book fan and you haven't read this.
Well, I mean, I've seen the movies. I've read The Hobbit. I've read
Hobbit's like close. Stop.
I played Lotro for a long time.
Oh my god.
So like obviously I know a lot about Middle Earth. I know a lot about the worlds and everything. And I read Fellowship. I just haven't read Two Towers and Return of the King. I really loved out of the movies. I didn't really like Fellowship was fine. I hated Return of the King, but I really liked Two Towers. I just thought Return of the King was just like excessively long for like 20 minutes of plot. And don't come at me with that because I don't want to hear it because like you can pretend you still think it's amazing. It wasn't. It was too long.
Anyway, if you think this is too long and too detailed, read the Silmarillion.
Yeah, well,
it's basically a textbook.
That's the problem with Fellowship is I was like conceptually like I appreciate what Tolkien's doing, but like at the same time it's like a lot of like textbooky kind of writing. So it's
Lord of the Rings is not textbooky. It's just very dense.
It's not a breezy read.
Reads like if you pick up a history textbook from a school, it reads the same way.
The nonsense with whatchamacallit?
Bombadil?
Yeah, it was
just
too much. All right, so the next one I'm giving him is...
Oh, my God.
And I actually I might reread this when he reads it, just because I haven't read this since I was like 15 years old. And I used to read this multiple times a year. And I kind of really want to go back and reread V.C. Andrews' books. But the thing with V.C. Andrews, and like I don't know how much people know about V.C. Andrews' books, but like she wrote... out of the like bunches and bunches of books she wrote 4 of the 5 Dollinger books, I think 2 of the 5 Castile books, and My Sweet Audrina. And then she died. And then she's still publishing under some guy who's pretending to be her. And maybe, like, early days he, like, had enough content, but, like, now it's just kind of becoming ridiculous. And so I could tell early on. I remember I read, like, Dawn, I think, and was like, okay, these are not the same writer. And these books are odd. I don't know what genre they are. Like, they're often considered horror, and then they're often considered romance, but they're kind of, like, way too twisted to be romance, but way too weird to be just horror. I don't know. I don't know what you would call this.
Too long to be a movie? Too stupid to be a book?
Yeah, no. It is... I love My Sweet Audrina, but it is... I remember it was being, like, really smutty, so I'm curious to read it, like, now, if it was as smutty as I remembered as a kid. But it's weird smutty. It's not... It's, like, incest and stuff. It's all messed up. So, I can't wait to reread it, and I can't wait to, like, have a conversation with him about, like, why I loved this book as a kid.
This is another one I'm just really fearful that I will despise.
Or he'll be like, this
Maybe I'll
book
think
is
it's great.
Twisted and
Maybe
weird.
I think it's great. It's possible. I can always hope.
Yeah, I don't know, like, too many people who've read, like, Flowers in the Attic since, like, they were back in the day. So, I don't know. I kind of want to go reread them, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to think of them now as an adult. All right, so the next one for me.
Oh, yeah. So, Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. I just recently read this, like, last 2 months ago or
Yeah, this has just been sitting on our shelves for years.
This is definitely not out of her comfort range in terms of subject matter. It's Victorian England.
And magic and...
magic.
Snarky.
It's, magical realism or urban fantasy or whatever. Mixed with historical fiction. Really good. The only reason this is out of her comfort zone is it's really long. And she tends to fear longer books.
I know I bought this.
Yeah, and we've had it for like
for
10 years. It's awesome. I think you will really enjoy this book quite a bit if you can deal with the fact that there are long stretches of, I don't want to say tedium, just like treading water.
I mean, like Jane Eyre is one of my favorite books. Wuthering Heights is one of my favorite books.
Very heavy Jane Eyre feel to it.
I love Great Expectations. Like, I've reread Great Expectations multiple times in my life. I read Les Mis for fun. So, like, long books don't bother me. It's just, like, I often look at them and then I go, oh, but look at all these other books that I could read in the same amount of time. And then I get intimidated. So this is kind of what this is doing for me, is helping move some of the long books that I've had sitting on our bookshelf that I keep saying I'm going to read someday. It's going to make me read some of them. So the next one I'm giving him is something I read like a decade ago and loved, and I think he would have liked, we've had it, and he was like, oh, that sounds interesting, but I think he just never got around to it. And it's The 13th Tale, which is like a gothic mystery. And I mean, I think it's up your alley. It's the kind of book you would enjoy. It's historical, creepy. I mean, you like Woman in Black. It's like that kind of book. Yeah. And I think you'll like it. It's not that long. I mean, it's longish. It's probably like 500 pages, but I think you'll really enjoy this. But I haven't even read it. I don't even remember much about it, but I really enjoyed it. So.
All right. Well, it sounds kind of fun. Seems like a thing I could probably enjoy more so than the last couple.
Yeah, and then he's giving me, I think he's just doing this to be funny.
I really like this book. Moby Dick. This book's excellent. Mm-hmm. So I'm not doing it to be funny. I'm doing it because it's an epic book that's again, should be on everyone who is a fan of sort of classic literature should have read this. The problem with this book
so long.
Is half of it is
you should have given me Crime
awesome.
And Punishment instead.
Half of it's incredibly interesting, and half of it is just a detailed instruction of how to be a whaler.
Yeah, I don't want to read that.
So you're gonna be able to go out whaling after you read this book. And they alternate the chapters. Half of them you're please just get to the story. I don't need to hear about how the best way to get spermaceti out of a whale's skull is, but you're gonna hear about it. Really great book. It's amazing. I mean, it's a little bit of a chore to get through at times, but one of those books that when you finish reading it, you're like, yeah, I'm glad I read that. It was amazing.
Or I propose that I read Wishbone's Moby Dog instead.
I mean, probably also a masterpiece, but maybe not have as much depth as the other one.
So I might just save Moby Dick, and then if that's all I have left, try to make the argument to read Moby Dog.
Well, then I'm just going to read, a music video of V.C. Andrews' book.
Shut up. All right, so my next one for him is way more up his alley, and this is Ghost House, which is super cheesy 70s pulpy, or maybe early 80s pulpy haunted house creepy horror novel. I loved this series. I actually haven't read Ghost Light. I thought these were terrifying. I loved Claire McNally when I was growing up. I thought she was like one of the most terrifying writers there was. Yeah, it's just cheesy old school horror.
Should be good. I like horror. I like ghost houses. I like people with fancy Irish names, so it should be great.
So the next one he's giving me.
Ooh, so she was. So I started put this list together, and she started complaining that all the books were too long.
Yeah, they were really too long.
This is too long. This is This is Moby Dick. This is 1,000 pages. This is 900 pages. Okay, great. That's all true. But so what? So I gave her a couple easy ones, and this is a super easy one. So there are these Choose Your Own Adventure books. You know what Choose Your Own Adventure books? I didn't get the time to explain it to you. And I love these. I collect them. And this is sort of the Dungeons and Dragons Choose Your Own Adventure book. So this is the first one. And so I'm going to have her read this. It'll take her like 30 minutes. So there's like a free one for her. It's fun. It's simple. It's fantasy. It's great.
Yeah, so apparently Dungeon of Dread. I read some of these. I read the Rainbow Dragons, and then you and I read one together. Yeah. But I used to love the Choose Your Own Adventure. I haven't really read as many of the Endless Quest. But I read like the traditional Choose Your Own Adventure, and then I read a few of those. What are the Time Machine? Is that what they're called?
Oh, maybe, I don't know.
Time something.
Yeah.
So the next one I have for him is, I think it's going to be right up his alley. It's Presumed Innocent by Scott Turow, which is just like a really fun, kind of fast-paced legal thriller mystery. It's just like so iconic. At this point, like, it might feel sort of done because it has been done a billion times since. But obviously Scott Turow was writing like in the 80s or whatever, way before
everybody. Is this the one Harrison Ford is in the movie?
Harrison Ford's in the movie.
Why don't I just watch the movie?
No. Well, then why don't I just watch Moby Dick the movie? Or The Stand, the TV show?
I mean, that's even longer.
Yeah.
12 hours.
But it's going to take me longer than 12 hours to read that book.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
But yeah, I loved this movie, and then so I went and read the book, and the book is really great too. So I just was like, hey,
I don't really like legal thrillers very much. I've read a couple, and I've never really liked them, but I'll give it a shot.
It's like twisty mystery kind of fun, though, so it's fun. So the next one he has for me is actually something I probably should have read.
Right. So this is another easy one. I mean, it's one of the longer Shakespeare plays, King Lear, and this is my favorite Shakespeare play that she has not read. Right. So it's not my absolute favorite. You know, Hamlet, Twelfth Night, or I like more than King Lear. There's a couple others that are in discussion, but this is a great one. This is almost like Hamlet light. There's a lot of similar elements to Hamlet in here. But still different, and some really great characters. I think it's the Duke of Gloucester, who's a real son of a bitch that I really like. But yeah, it's a great freaking play that she hasn't read, so she should have read it.
And isn't Succession loosely based on King Lear?
Isn't everything loosely based off King Lear? Yeah.
No, I mean,
I think it is.
And the thing is, I love Succession, so like this is like very much my kind of thing. It's like I love palace intrigue, and so, and I've read all the big Shakespeare, like the four main tragedies, and I've read the other three, so probably should have read this at this point in my life. So I am giving him, because I'm so sick of hearing him.
Oh, a gay bird.
He's just making fun of this book.
You know what I love? Frolicking in wheat.
He knows nothing about Anne of Green Gables.
Oh, dear me, I dropped my slate. Now I must stay after school and copy my name.
Yeah, that does happen, probably.
Gables.
But, like, I feel like, I mean, yes, it's more of a girl,
That's
I
my
guess.
boyfriend, Mortimer Splunge.
Gilbert Blythe.
That's pretty much what I said.
Anyway, it's more, I think, traditionally, like...
His name's Blythe? Like the captain?
No, Blythe, I think.
Blythe?
Yeah.
Like the adjective?
Is it Gilbert Blythe or Gilbert Blythe? Now I can't remember. You're confusing me.
Gilbert Satchel.
The thing is... like,
Gilbert Crap Sandwich.
This is just such a...
Poop book?
No, it's just such a cute...
Bag of
Gilbert
ass?
Blythe.
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 What does Blythe mean?
That's his
You
name.
know? Yeah, what does it mean, though? Look it up. It's a word. It's an adjective.
No, that's spelled different.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, it's just such a cute book. And, like, honestly, like, it's just It's so, like...
Dear me, this is a purple gable. Throw it away.
I mean, it's such a traditional, like, book that, like, so... Everybody's read it. It's like Wizard of Oz. It's like having not seen or read Wizard of Oz at this point.
Gable.
You realize this is like a classic novel.
No.
It is.
It's about some green stuff on a house.
Anyway, so I feel like he needs to have read it because it's like up there with like some of the most famous classics of all time.
Is it
Yes.
like Little House on the Prairie?
Yeah. Have you read that?
Which is also crap that no one cares about.
Have you read him?
No.
Oh, well, I should have probably put a Little House book on here.
No.
Next time, 2025, he's reading Little House on the Prairie.
Next time.
Anyway.
So one time.
So the next one he's giving me, I've actually read, but I haven't read since I was like 10 years old.
All right. So I've read this book a lot of times, and I really like it. And every time she tells me she's read it, and we try to engage in conversation, I realize she doesn't have a clue about what in the hell she is talking about.
I was 10 years old when I read it.
So she doesn't know anything about this book at all. But she still wants to occasionally argue about parts of the book, even though she doesn't know what she's talking about. So let's stop this now. Let's give you the ammunition to have a discussion. Reread the damn book. It's amazing. Yeah, everybody's pretty much read this. So, yeah, make sure you know. If you guys read this and you forgot what happens in it, read it again. It's awesome.
Yeah, so, I mean, I read it, but again, I didn't even read it in school. I read it on my own because my mom was like, hey, everybody likes this To Kill a Mockingbird book. You should read it. It's famous. And I was like, cool. And then she was like, yeah, it's banned. Like, people are offended by it. And I was like, banning books is awful. I will read all the banned books. And I went out and, like, tried to read all the banned books when I was, like, 10 years old. And, like, this was one of them. And I remember reading it. And I remember my, like, English teacher in whatever it was, 6th or 7th grade or whatever, being like, oh, you're reading To Kill a Mockingbird? That's such a great book. And I was like, cool, like...
Yeah, I tried to read some banned books, but I'm not good with instruments.
Okay, anyway, so the next one I'm giving him is The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, which he already kind of wanted to read anyway.
Did I?
Well, because it's on my top 20.
No, I don't know if I kind of wanted to read it so much as it was just, like, on your top 20.
I mean, I don't understand why you wouldn't want to read this. It's a locked room mystery on a British estate, which he likes.
That's true. That is a good start.
I mean, and not only that, it's kind of like a Groundhog Day version of it, and so those are things he likes a lot. So
the detective is a groundhog?
No, the detective has to keep time traveling into different, every day restart the day, but under a new suspect.
And in one day he's Bill Murray, and one day he's a groundhog.
Okay, well, we'll have a conversation when he's read it.
Groundhog.
So the next one for me to read.
Yeah, all right, so she almost self-selected this. So this is a book that I really like that she will absolutely hate. I wasn't even going to put it on this list. She mentioned she's like, I want to read something out of my comfort zone. Why don't you put this on the list? So finally I was like, you know what? Fine. You'll hate this book. It's about baseball. She doesn't like baseball. The entire book
I like baseball.
is just people playing baseball and doing baseball-y stuff like traveling around and having sex with random groupies and getting drunk and having injuries and like then having I don't want to ruin the ending. But like, it's entirely about what I would imagine the life of baseball players is like. And if you're not really into that, I can't imagine you will like this book.
I like baseball. I like League of Their Own.
This is a very different story.
It's very similar. It just has girls.
No, the similarity is there's baseball in it, and that is
There's no crying in baseball.
There might be some minor crying and violence and drug use in this, but...
This isn't what that really good movie is based on, right? The Bang the Drum Slowly or whatever?
No. You didn't see that movie.
No, I know, but it's supposed to be good.
Yeah, I liked it, but, you didn't see it.
Okay, so, kind of totally out of his comfort zone, and I have no idea what he'll think of this. I don't think he'll like this book, per se. I do think he might understand why it's good. He might also hate it. And I'm giving him the first of the Sisterhood of Traveling Pants. Because it's such an important book in my life. And I'm just like... And he always is like, pants. And it's...
Reading more of them pants books, are you?
I mean, it's kind of like when I had him read... Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. There's only a certain level that I expect him to enjoy this to. A certain degree. That it's just... you don't hate Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret.
I mean...
You're like, it's just not for me.
I wouldn't say I enjoyed it.
Right. But you actually didn't mind Bridget Jones's Diary.
That was funny.
Yeah, so I mean, this is probably more like Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. So he's probably not going to be loving this.
My Goodreads, I don't even know.
I don't know. But anyway, so we'll see what he thinks.
Maybe it'll be amazing. Maybe like, this is astounding. We're going to read the whole series.
It's not going to happen.
Or maybe I'll be like, please, God, let this book end.
There's zero chance he's going to read the whole series. Great. I would be shocked if he was like, I must find out more what happens with these.
Challenge accept. No, challenge not.
Let's see what happens. Let's see if he suddenly feels the need to read the remainder.
Maybe I'll love this. Maybe I'll like jump to the front of my favorite book list. Who knows?
Yeah, because you know what you really loved, and what is like one of your top story arcs?
Pants-based
is the friendship of teenage girls.
Yeah, that's not that high up on my list.
I mean, you didn't like Daisy Darker because it was too much teenage girl stuff.
No, it was too much family drama.
Well, this is teenage girl drama.
I hate that.
I know.
That was in My Best Friend's Exorcist. I thought it was going to be horror comedy. It was just teenage girl drama. And I was like, please kill
Without
me.
traveling pants, though.
Please just impale me with a pitchfork.
Although you didn't hate 13 Little Blue Envelopes.
No, that was all right. That was more like personal stuff, not like teenage girl drama.
Yeah, that's it's a little more like that.
That's potentially tolerable.
I mean, again, what was that, like a 3 for you, maybe?
Maybe 3 or 2.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying you're going to love it. You're probably not going to want to read the rest of them, but I'd be shocked if he wanted to read the rest of them.
My new favorite series.
All right, and the last one he's giving me.
Oh, yeah. So I love Ray Bradbury. Ray Bradbury is like my favorite writer. So she read my favorite couple of Bradbury books, but she hasn't read my third favorite Bradbury book, which is Something Wicked This Way Comes. she was saying the other day, I don't know, it could be like 3 months ago.
Yeah, I think it was around Halloween.
She's like, man, I like creepy carnivals. And I was like, well, have I got a book for you? And this is it. Yeah, I think it's pretty high probability you enjoy this book. I don't know if you'll love it specifically, but I mean, I can't imagine you don't at least go, ooh, that was well written and enjoyable.
Yeah, this is on my list I kind of want to read, so this is going back. No, this is going back to like some of our
13th books.
Some of the early books where we were talking about how like we kind of both want to read each other's books. So this is one of those.
I have no plans to read any of the things on your list.
And I think this is one that you'll really like. And The Spear Cuts Through Water. I know there's going to be a read along in January, so you can maybe even get started with it right away. I loved this book, and this is not my kind of book. This is more of a you book because you love fantasy and stuff, and like. It's beautiful, it's poetic, it's creative, it's unique, it's like, it's a fantasy world, it's like just amazing world building. There's so much to this story. I would be shocked if you didn't like give this at least like a 3.5.
3.5, high praise indeed.
Well, for you, that's like good. I mean,
yeah.
Like you give like
3.5
Romeo and Juliet a 3. Okay, that's a 5. But
5.
Right, but I think Macbeth is like a 3 for you.
That's a solid 4.
So I'd be really shocked if you didn't at least wasn't in the like more than dislike for you.
I mean, we'll see. I like fantasy. I like things that are well written. This sounds like it's those two things. So that's, I'm looking forward to reading this a hell of a lot more. I'm looking forward to that Pants or Daniel Steele crap.
Well, it's like, and it's also like mythology based, and like you love that stuff, and so I just think you'll really
sounds like
the
kind of thing I would like. So that's, I'm optimistic about this one.
Watch, this is the one he hates, and then he's like suddenly
I'm like, man, that Pants book's amazing.
And what's going to be funny is hopefully at the end of the year when we kind of reflect on these and we hopefully have finished all of them, to see which ones we liked more than like which ones, how we would rank them. And then I'm just curious to see, like, I almost feel like we should pre-rank them.
Let's predict what we'll like for the order.
So maybe we'll do that and we'll post those at the end of this video of like our pre-reading, pre-rankings,
yep.
And then see at the end of the year where we are. Because I think that would be kind of fun. Because I guarantee you there's going to be some changes. I also would like to I'd also like to guess, like, I'm going to guess what he would rank them, and then he can guess what he ranks them, and then we'll see how it goes. So we should do that.
The ranking.
So we'll post those at the end.
Take a peek at our rankings, which aren't done yet, but we done for you.
Yeah.
Magic of time travel.
All right.